Who remembers what foods are acidic? Lemons, oranges, any citrus fruit's going to be acidic. And bases, well, unlike acids which taste sour, bases taste bitter. Has anybody ever had to have their mouth washed out with soap? Okay. Well,
you?
I never did,
Oh.
but I was curious because my teacher once told a classmate, I'm going to wash your mouth out with soap. And so I was curious and I tasted my soap, and to me it tasted bitter. Okay, so bases are bitter. Okay. Today we will use the cabbage juice that we used in the past to test the acidity of some household products. And as I mentioned before, many of these household products are VOCs, or volatile organic compounds. That means that you shouldn't be inhaling them because they could hurt your brains and maybe make you pass out. Okay. So here we go. It says right here, when you get the worksheets, you're going to fill in these blanks. I'll fill them in now for you. It says the acids have what? Acidic foods taste what? What do I put there?
No, sour.
Sour. Very good. And the bases release hydroxide ions in a solution, and foods that are bases taste what?
Bitter.
Bitter. So let's look at this pH scale with some examples of things that you might find in your house. Some of them are foods, some of them are cleaning things or used for other purposes, okay? So on the left, what do you see? It says the hydrogen ion concentration, right? And as you have the numbers get bigger, because you would agree with me that 1 is greater than 10 to the negative 1, wouldn't you? Because if it's the negative 1, that means you move the decimal over once to the left, and then it's only a fraction. Okay, so as the numbers get bigger, the pH value gets smaller. And as the pH value gets smaller, that means it's going to become more acidic. Okay, so the closer you get to 0, the more acidic it is. 7 is neutral. Pure water is absolutely neutral. Okay, we're not testing water today. At the other end of the spectrum, at 14, 14 is the strongest base out there. Both strong bases and acids are extremely corrosive. And if you get them in your eyes, they will destroy your eyes. If you get them on your skin, they will destroy your skin. So during the lab today, we're going to be using aprons and goggles, and your hands will not be coming in contact with any of these chemicals. Do you understand?
Yes.
If you should get anything on your hands or in your eyes or anywhere else, you need to tell me immediately. So as, hi Chanel, you're a little late, have a seat please. So as soon as you find out something has spilled or gotten on you, you need to let me know. Don't wait around, okay? It'll hurt if you do. Okay.
Late work? Late work?
So there is a table you're going to be filling out. I changed some of these chemicals on the chart because I thought that it would be a little bit too much to test today. So we only are testing for 6 different substances. Now, the substances are in these little containers, okay? At the base of the container, or in each one of the containers, there's several different compartments. And in the compartments, you'll find the substances, okay? Before we begin adding the cabbage juice, which is what? It's called the pH indicator. It's going to tell us whether it's an acid or base. Before we start adding those things into these different compartments, we're going to make predictions as to whether or not we think each of these things will be an acid or base. It's just a guess, okay? So who wants to guess bug killer? How many of you think it's an acid? Raise your hands if you think bug killer is an acid. Raise high. Okay, how many of you think bug killers are bases? Okay, so we're going to go with acid for that one. What about Drano? Acid or base? How many of you think it's an acid? Drano is something that you put down your pipes of your home in case it gets clogged. How many of you think it's an acid? Raise your hand. Okay, that looks like pretty strong agreement that it's an acid. Now, remember your predictions can be wrong, okay? And there's nothing too terrible about having a wrong prediction, okay? Because we're not basing this on a lot of our prior knowledge. We don't have a whole lot of prior knowledge. Ammonia. How many of you think it's an acid? Base? Okay. Laundry detergent. How many of you think it's an acid? Base? Okay. Vinegar. Acid? Does it taste sour or bitter? What do you think? Acid? Base. Okay, we'll go with acid on that one. And nail polish remover. How many of you think it's an acid? Base? Okay, a few more acids on that one. Okay, now, here in this instruction right here it says, we're going to add the red cabbage juice indicator to each of the substances to determine if it's an acid or a base. Acids will be what? Reddish pink. Bases will be greenish, okay? The original color is kind of a bluish purple. So there will be a color change, Michael, if it is either an acid or a base. If it's not an acid or a base, but it's neutral, what would you guess the color would be? What color is it now? Bluish purple.
I'm tired.
So if it's not an acid or it's not a base, would you expect the color to change? I would say no. I would expect it to stay this color if it's not an acid or a base. All right, so first thing, logistics, okay? In your compartments, you will read at the bottom of here from left to right. From left to right, it's this first one is number 1. Thank you. Number 1 is here. You see that? Where is number 1 located? At the top?
Bottom.
Noah? Where is number 1 located? Look up here. Bottom left. Number 2 is next to it, then 3, 4, 5, 6. You're going to have 6 substances to which you're going to add what?
Cabbage.
Cabbage juice, which is your pH indicator. How much should you add? No more than a pipette full, okay? Probably less than that, probably half of a pipette full, okay? 3 or 4 drops should do it. If you don't see it turn a bluish purple by that time, you can add a little more, okay? But don't go overboard because it'll just spill out the side and it won't make a difference, okay? You just make a mess, a chemical spill, which you should report to me, okay? All right. So that's basically it. You're going to add the drops. What are you going to do after you add the drops, DeAndre? Observe for what? Observe for a color change, okay? Stay awake. All right. If there is a color change that's reddish pink, what is it?
Acid.
An acid. If it turns greenish, it's a...
Base.
Okay, you'll fill in the color, and then you'll determine whether it's an acid or a base. You'll write your conclusions, and then you'll stop right here, and we'll continue later together if we have time. Any questions? Okay, so I'm going to break you into 4